Morgan, can you help us with roll call?
Sure. Ellen Jimenez.
I am here.
Regina Salas.
She's supposed to call in.
She's on. I saw her online.
I see
I'm
her.
present online.
Okay. Julie Connick. Present. Jennifer Brogan.
I'm here.
Cody Hapoon. She may or may not join. So we're just waiting. Michael Marquez.
Here.
Jamie Townsend.
Perfect. As a reminder, if you're carrying a cell phone, computer, or other sound device, we ask that you turn it off or minimize the ringing to minimize disruption to today's meeting. Let's move to action item C. Is Councilmember Aslan here? Yes. Do you have any announcements? You want to check in?
I am. I don't have any. I don't have anything for you guys at this time.
Good to see you. Commissioners, do we have any announcements? I know I do. Go ahead. I'll go last.
Commissioner Comnick. I would like to invite you all to consider, you might know about 4 playable golf in the gallery at CCA that happens every other year in January. It's been very successful, and we are currently inviting artists and organizations to create a golf green. And my staff let me know that they would love to see an application or submission to create a golf green by Discover Flagstaff. So if you're all inclined, the deadline is October 15th.
Do you have anything that you could send? Carrie,
Yes.
the deadline is what?
October 15th for proposal, not a completed green, just like to pass that. Oh, we extended it until November. Keeping me on my toes. We just extended the deadline. We have some availability for more greens. Yes.
Okay, so the new deadline
Is November 1st, which is not yet passed.
right,
Just in 2 weeks. Yeah. A little sketch on a napkin is all you need.
Oh,
Yeah.
I hear
We
you.
just want to hear your enthusiasm.
okay.
Great. Thanks. I'll send that.
Thank you. And maybe some examples, so I know what.
Sure. There's a webpage.
Oh, perfect. Any other check-ins from our commissioners? I have one. Ellen Jimenez with the Embassy Suites here in Flagstaff. Our hotel has recently gone through an ownership transition. So we are under new ownership with Baywood Hotels. We are the first hotel for them in Flagstaff. They have a couple that are in the build mode in Phoenix, and they are also building one in Prescott. But they're based out of Maryland, Houston, Miami, Denver, and growing. But they have expressed a lot of excitement about being here. So we're very excited to welcome them this week. The transition date actually was Tuesday. So we are all very deep in onboarding, updates, changes. And then we also have a new general manager who I will be very excited to be introduced to all of you. But that's my news.
Again?
Baywood Hotels,
They would.
really big with Hiltons, Marriott's, and IHG properties. Generally, they like to do new builds, so acquisitions are rare for them, but we're excited that we're one of them, and with the renovation stage to be determined, but soon. Regina, do you have any announcements?
Yes, I do. Actually, I have a couple. One is first and foremost, thank you. Muchas gracias. Maraming salamat po to our awesome and amazing Discover Flagstaff for their full force support yesterday at the Northern Arizona Hospitality and Tourism Business Town Hall. I also want to thank you. Thanks to Chris Rody, one of our guest speakers yesterday, to the town hall. We have over 45 business owners, managers in lodging, restaurant, tourism, and hospitality showed up for the business town hall, which was hosted by Northern Arizona Lodging, Tourism, Restaurant Association and our partners. The Asian American Hotel Owners Association, and then also the Arizona Lodging Tourism Association chair was there present. So, this movers and shakers in the business community in our industry engage in conversations about trends, challenges, and opportunities facing our industry and connected with fellow industry professionals. Thanks again, Discover Flagstaff. We heard from our whole partners and even like the corporate partners from like Wyndham and folks who actually there was one vendor who flew in from Philadelphia to just show up for for the event yesterday. So and hands down to our Discover Flagstaff team for being there. And then one announcement is our partner, wearing my other hat with Northern Arizona Good Job Network, kind of spreading the word. The food entrepreneurship program that's being delivered by White Mountain Economic Development entity. They have a food entrepreneurship program being delivered in Flagstaff next week. Please check out their website at wmedev.org. So that's WMED stands for White Mountain Economic Development. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Salas. Do we have any other updates, announcements? All right, moving on. Public participation. This is where we want to invite any member in the community to share any announcements that they may have. No? All right, everybody should have received the minutes from last month's meeting on September 25th. I apologize, I was unable to attend. So I will not be making a motion or voting. But if everybody could, if you reviewed and if you have any comments, let us know. But if I can get a motion to approve the minutes from September 25th.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Thank you. Can we get a
I second
second?
the motion. I second the motion, Regina Salas.
Excellent. There's a motion to approve in a second. Do we have any discussion? If everybody's in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Perfect. The minutes for Tourism Commission from September 25th have been voted and approved. And now we have a guest here with us today, Chris Rode.
That's me, yes.
Awesome. With management analyst with communication and civic engagement.
That's me.
And you have some items to share with us.
I do.
Thank you for being
If I
here.
just share on Teams, will it appear on here? Okay, fantastic. So I'm Chris Rode. I'm the Special Programs Manager for the City of Flagstaff. And in that capacity, I have many different responsibilities, but today I'm here in my capacity as the manager of the Office of Labor Standards, which is the city's regulatory office that regulates minimum wage. And wanted to talk to y'all about minimum wage here in Flagstaff. We're at kind of an interesting point this year with a new wage announced for 2026 and a new provision taking effect that will impact all the sectors that you guys work with. I did give the same presentation yesterday at the business town hall, so thank you to Regina for the invite to be there. It was lovely seeing such a large turnout for that and getting some nice face time with our business community. So I'll go through all this. Feel free to shout any questions if you have, and I'll take questions at the end as well if you have any there. I always like to start with a bit of background about how our minimum wage works. And the first point I always like to make is that this was passed by the voters as a citizens initiative back in 2016. So we're coming up on 10 years since that election. The city did not debate it at city council. City staff did not draft it. City attorneys did not look at it. It was entirely done by the public of the city of Flagstaff. So they wrote it, they collected signatures to put it in the ballot, they campaigned on its behalf, and then the citizens eventually voted in favor of all of this. So again, the city was not responsible for any of that. On top of that, because it went through that citizen initiative process, it is voter protected, meaning that the Flagstaff City Council is not legally allowed to make substantive changes to this ordinance. They're allowed to make only changes that further the original intent of the initiative, and only with a 3/4 majority, which is about as big of a majority as I've ever seen in any political body anywhere for any purpose. For context, amending the United States Constitution requires a 2/3 majority and hasn't been done in over 50 years as a result. The goal of this initiative was stated at getting the city to $15 an hour by 2021 as the base minimum wage. It accomplished that. It has a provision in it that requires the city of Flagstaff's minimum wage remain at least $2 an hour greater than the Arizona's the state minimum wage. That's a provision that has not ever come into effect and likely will not ever be in effect because the math will work out that unless the state were to adopt their own rule that jumps them up a whole bunch, or we were to do something else that brings us back, we're gonna be moving kind of together. Each year our adjustments are based on the same metrics at the same times. So there's really no mathematical way that without one of those laws changing that this would ever come into effect, but it remains in the ordinance. All of the future increases of minimum wage at Flagstaff are tied to the Consumer Price Index as published by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. And then finally, there's an exemption in this ordinance for any entities of the state of Arizona and for the federal government. So any state or federal agencies don't have to abide by this. And the biggest party that this exempts would be Northern Arizona University and CCC, who are considered entities of the state. So the student workers that are 19 years old working on campus do not have to be paid the city's minimum wage. Here's a table of what our wage has looked like since this went into effect. So it was passed in November of 2016, and its effective date was July 1st. Before that, we were at $8.05 an hour with a $3 tip credit. So tipped employees could be paid $3 less at $5.05 an hour. And then we went right to $11 an hour, which was a pretty big jump out the gate. We kept that $3 tip credit to start out, and we moved up $1 an hour through 2020, and then $2 an hour when we got to 2021. Through this time, the tip credit has also started to be phased out. As you'll notice, in 2026, the hourly tip minimum wage just shows kind of not applicable because there will not be a tip credit anymore. We don't care if you receive tips in the course of your regular work. We don't care if you're a bartender or a server or anyone else. Everybody that works in the city of Flagstaff will have to make the new minimum wage of $18.35 as their base wage from their employer. None of that can be paid by consumers. It's not outlaw tipping. I imagine that tipping will continue in the city of Flagstaff. There are several states that already have eliminated their tip minimum wage, and they continue to see tips. So without any kind of a concerted effort to change American culture, I think tips will probably continue, but they will not be a portion of the minimum wage as paid to employees anymore. Going forward each year, that number will be determined depending on what the numbers are. So everyone always wants to know, what are they going to be? And I don't know what they're going to be. I can tell you that the first couple months of this year, so we're only a few months into the calendar year that will determine it. We've been sitting right around 3%, but that can change in a heartbeat. And there's still an awful lot of year left to see what that'll end up being. We'll also note that you'll see that in the first year that we went to the tipped or the CPI minimum wage, we had a larger jump of $1.30 an hour, from $15.50 to $16.80. That was the first year that we used the CPI. The CPI was very high. It was about 8.9%. So we had a higher initial increase than we normally have over the course of decades looking at past CPI numbers. And so right now we're sitting at just under 3%. So we jumped a far smaller amount from 17.85 to 18.35, a simple 50 cents an hour increase. So each year, when we go to calculate the minimum wage, it's a pretty simple formula. There's an actual number. It's 320 something right now, point XXXXX. They rounded usually to 4 decimals, 3 or 4 decimals. And we just take that number and divide it by the number from the previous year, and it gives us 1 point something something. So this year it was 1.029 XXX, whatever it was. And we multiply the current wage by that number, and that gives us our new minimum wage. We do round to the nearest 5 cents, so it stays kind of a square number, but we round either direction. So we don't always round up. People, you think about money, oftentimes you just by default round up. We will round down if necessary. So if it comes out to the number ending in 61 cents, we would round down to 60 cents, not up to 65 cents. That makes sense. And then because we have a rounded and an unrounded number, we do the math based on the unrounded number. So that way we don't end up in a point where year after year we round up and then we round up again and then round up again and end up ahead of ourselves or behind ourselves. It stays based on the unrounded number. That's what we do the math based on. The numbers are for August. Numbers were calculated based on consumer trends during the month of August. They are released the second week of September. So that's when we actually know the number. This year it was September 11th. The formula is pretty quick. We double, triple, and quadruple check our arithmetic to make sure that we're right. But we usually have that number released publicly by about midday. And that's usually a pretty viewed press release when it hits the airwaves. I have a note in here that the Bureau of Labor Statistics reserves the right to make amendments to the CPI without notice for a period of 10 years after the fact. They can go back and say, oh, we were wrong on something. It is almost always a change to a regional metric or just one of the thousands and thousands of numbers that go into it. They might say, oh, the numbers that came out of Southern Illinois were off by 8 cents for something, and it is very, 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 very unlikely to actually affect our minimum wage in any way. And if it did, we would just incorporate it into the next year. It wouldn't be a huge deal, but just a note that we are aware that that is a possibility, generally speaking, at least. Now, the Office of Labor Standards that I work with, we have 4 responsibilities under this ordinance, and that's to publish documents. So we have posters, just like employers have to post the federal minimum wage poster. They have to post our minimum wage poster as well. We produce that in English and Spanish, and in 2 different sizes. One that's just 8.5 by 11. So if you want to just print it off a simple printer, it's quick and easy. We also have a larger, I think it's 11 by 18. If you want it to look a little bit nicer and be bigger, you can go and find a place to print that if your printer doesn't do it. But we provide both options in both languages. We also provide notices and some kind of base documents that employers like. With tip policies in the past, there's a requirement that an employee gets a notice in writing from their employer if they're going to be a part of a tip pool, so that they know what the rules for that are. And employers have kind of said, well, what does that mean? So we made that notice, and it's available on our website. You can go and print it out and just enter your company's name and what your specific provisions are. But we've done the work to create that document for you. That way, if you want to give that notice and be sure that you're in compliance, and say, hey, you made this document, we give it to our employees. Great, you're in compliance. There's also a signature form that's not required, that if you want to get employees to sign off on something to show that they've seen something, we provide that as well. It's optional. It's just because we heard from businesses that they wanted that document, so we created that one as well. We also conduct education and outreach, which includes a whole slew of things I'll talk about here in a moment, but would include things like appearing at commission meetings and at the town hall yesterday to try to be present and inform our community of what these provisions entail. The last two are most of what we spend our day-to-day doing. And I say we, it's really me. I'm the sole employee of the Office of Labor Standards, but I do have some other coworkers help out occasionally with things when I'm out of the office or whatnot. The first one is the big one, that we investigate any possible violations of this ordinance. We generally, I'll talk about that process as well, but we conduct audits of records, and we look at circumstances and do interviews, those things as needed, but we investigate to see if there are actual violations when we catch wind of anything. And then if we discover violations, and I'm wording that very specifically, we do enforce the payment of fines and back wages to employees if we need to. And if necessary, we will go and do that through a court process. We've only had to do that a few times, but we reserve the right to go to municipal court to enforce this if we need to. So on the education and outreach components, we try to do as much direct communication with businesses as practicable. There have been about 3,800 licensed businesses in Flagstaff. That number has fluctuated over the years. And the reason that those two numbers at the end are both zeros is because every day it changes. Giving you an exact count would be out of date within about an hour of telling you that number. So, but it stayed generally under 4,000, right in that upper 3,000 mark. That's about how many we normally see. So we send a mailer. So if you're a licensed business, you should be receiving a mailer from us probably the next month, notifying you that minimum wage is increasing, because not everybody is as connected and attending, things like this and reading the news. So we want to make sure that we get it out that way. We send it by email as well. That's an email that usually generates quite a bit of follow-up correspondence in the days afterwards. But we try to talk to businesses directly as much as we can. We also talk to local organizations like the town hall yesterday. We talked to the Chamber of Commerce, Downtown Business Association, NALTRA, which was one of the sponsors of the group yesterday. So where we are limited because we can't be in every single business, we try to deputize those organizations that have strong reach and strong connections to bring them into the fold and help with some of the education things that we do. We're doing more and more social media, mostly because it is very low-hanging fruit. It's very easy to create content for it. It's some of the cheapest, one of the cheapest ways to get messages into the community that there is. So you'll see some of that in the next month or two, and then over approximately January and December, or December and January, when the wage goes into effect. We try to be really present in those months. We've also we've run radio advertisements in the past on 11 different local stations. In the past, we've done them in English, Spanish, and in Navajo. We're not required to do things in Navajo. We're only required to produce documents in any language that's spoken by at least 5% of the population. The numbers that we've used from things like the American surveys by the Census Bureau have shown that Navajo is it's close to 5%. And depending on which survey you look at, it's usually closer to 3%. But we want to be good stewards, and producing documents or producing things orally, at least in Navajo, is attainable. So we've done that in the past. We don't do anything written in Navajo because it's not a written language, but we try to, as a courtesy to our community, do things in Navajo where we can. And actually, we found that some of the local radio stations have actually told us that they're willing to run ads in Navajo, but they are not willing to run things in Spanish, which I thought was interesting. Finally, we do print media as well. So we have worked with Flagstaff Business News, the Arizona Daily Sun, and then some other ones like the Navajo Hopi Observer, Williams, Daily News, and I think those are owned by the same company organization. So, but we've used them in the past as well to put out some advertisements, usually again around the turn of the year when the new wage goes into effect. Now, what I get the most questions about, and probably the most concern from our businesses, is what our enforcement process looks like. So I want to be transparent with you about what we do. Our office, again, was created by a ballot measure, which means that our job is to follow that rule, but it doesn't come from the city council telling us to do it. We're required to do it. And it's important to us that first, we do follow our obligation, the ordinance, but we want to develop a positive relationship with our business community as we can. So what we can do in that situation is be transparent with you about how we go about things and set everybody up to succeed as best as possible. So we do not currently perform random audits or inspections. We did for a period of about 1 year after this went into effect, probably in 2017, 2018, around that time that was done. We just, as a matter of our own internal policy, do not do that currently. So we're not going to just draw up a random business, walk into it and start nosing around without any kind of a reason or suspicion. And we reserve the right to, we're allowed to, and sometimes we'll catch wind of something that's happening, and it won't be an official complaint, but we want to look into. So that's usually what sent us to go to those, but we have the ability in that situation to kind of tailor our action to what we think is necessary, and we'll do that. So, but it's largely complaint driven, meaning that someone calls our office and says, hey, I think something's going on with this business, or I'm an employee of this business, and I've seen these things. If we see that happen, our process is generally to reach out to the business. We try to find the right person, and depending on if it's a local business or if they're operating out of the city, that process can be easy or it can be weeks long to find the person that actually deals with these kind of things. And usually it's the larger corporations that are not based in Flagstaff that we have more difficulty talking to the right people to get to that point. We will generally request records for all employees, but depending on the size of the business, and especially some of the restaurants in town have dozens of employees, and at that point it's a burden on the business to provide that many records, and I don't want to go through that many records. It's not going to be helpful to the cause. So what we'll do in those situations is ask for a list of employees, and we may have a bit of information that we know about what employees work there. So we might, we're looking forward to make sure that there's a couple names that do appear on there, and if they didn't, would be a sign that something's being withheld from us. And we might do some follow up to make sure that everything looks right about that as well. But we'll do a sample in that case. And I've done this with several restaurants in town that will give us a list of their employees and what positions they operate in, and we will randomly select from a variety of those positions so we can see how a server is being paid versus a host versus a cook, a bartender, that kind of thing. And we can see if there's any trends between the positions, because the idea is if we find anything, we'll dive deeper, but we don't want to dive deeper if we don't have to in certain areas. So if we can isolate where a problem may exist, it makes everything move a little bit quicker and makes our job easier and your job easier as business owners as well. We reserve the right to request documents for a broad range of time. We'll generally try to do that over several months. If someone says, "Oh, well, I started in May," that doesn't mean we're not going to be asking for records from before they were there. And there's no set time limit. I'm not going to tell you that we always do it 2 months before. We might have reason to suspect that things have been going on for longer. So if someone says, "Hey, I started this job in May and they're still paying last year's minimum wage," we're not going to just ask for April. We're going to go all the way back to probably December or November of the year prior to look at to see if that's happening in the business. We will pretty much never tell you the name of a person that complained. We're not allowed to under our ordinance, and we don't usually need to because we can go about it through this anonymous process. There have been situations where it's helpful to know the name, and the person that complained gives us permission to do that. At that point, we'll come forward and say, "Hey, it's this employee that has the complaint." And I'll note that when we do that, we also are very clear that that employee is protected from retaliation under our ordinance. So your employees are completely allowed to talk to us. They are completely allowed to file complaints. If they file a complaint and they're wrong, we'll dismiss it because it's not going to be, it'll be baseless. that goes for afterwards. If we wrap up our case and send you a letter saying we're not looking at you anymore, and the next week I learned that that employee was fired and there was no cause before that, that is cause for us to open a new investigation about retaliation. So please don't do that. They are protected from retaliation. When we receive records, we have we look at everything on a week-to-week basis. So in a 7-day work week, that's how we calculate everything. It's based on hours worked in a given week, not necessarily a pay period. And that week can be different depending on your business. It's usually gonna be Monday through Sunday or Sunday through Saturday, but that's not prescribed anywhere other than it's a 7-day week. And we do the 7-day week because we do look at overtime as well. If you work 65 hours in a 2-week period, that doesn't mean that it was spread evenly amongst those 2 weeks. If we discover, if someone comes to us and complains, they say, well, I work at a job where I get paid $40 an hour and my employer only gave me $30 an hour. Is that a violation? Not of ordinance. Our ordinance talks about minimum wage. So in those situations, we generally refer them to civil process or things like that, because this doesn't involve our office. We look at minimum wage only. That also means that if you have an employee that's supposed to be making $35 an hour, or $40 an hour, or whatever it would be, and we look at they're not being paid at all, or they're being paid below the minimum wage, we can intervene, but only up to the point of the minimum wage. So we can get them the minimum wage, but we cannot get them more than that. That's kind of the line of where our jurisdiction ends, is that minimum wage number. So 1835 in 2026 will be as much as we can do. Here we go. If we get to a point where we're required, where violations occurred, I'll note that this is a part of the ordinance that we've looked at the language very closely on, and it is a shall, it is not a may. We are required to assess penalties. We do not have discretion. We do not have discretion to say, oh, well, you were really, you didn't mean to do it, or no, if we discover that there's a violation, we have to assess penalties. And the penalties are, we calculate how much money the employee was entitled to, and we do it for each pay period. So we go back, depending on how far it is, it can be a pretty complex calculation. We look at they're owed back wage, they're owed 10% interest per year on that. So we calculate how long it's been since that pay period was issued. What that gives us how much the interest is required on that. And then we take a look at that back wage number. So say you're owed $100. It's $100 plus that interest, and then it's $200 more as an additional penalty. So it ends up being a little bit more than 3 times the original back wage, and there's no ability to negotiate that. We're not allowed to say, oh well, we'll take less. No, we are required to collect that full amount from you, and that's the requirement. Now, where we have a little bit of area for discretion, where we found an area that is just by kind of our own internal policy has worked really well for this office, is that we aren't required to enforce that provision unless we discover an issue and have to enforce on it. So when we go to a business, we generally tell them, we're looking for these records. We need you to turn these over by X date. And if in the course of turning those records over to us, you happen to find that you have made a mistake and you would like to correct that mistake, and when you give us your records, you show us that you have made that correction, by the time we have records in our hands, it's been addressed. And at that point, we do not have to assess the additional penalties and violations. But what we found is that happens sometimes. And it worked really well on both sides of things, because you don't have to pay additional penalties. And employers and the employees who really just want to be paid for their time get paid. If in the cases where we have to enforce on this, it's generally more difficult because businesses try to fight it. It it's more likely to go to a legal process. And in that whole period, it's more work for the city, and it makes it harder for the employee to actually collect wages that they're owed. They generally just want to be paid. Your employees, for the most part, aren't trying to scam you out of more money. They just want to be paid a fair wage for the hours they work. So this is the way that we have chosen to enforce this, and it's worked really well. We still recover money for claimants. We keep a transparent, good relationship with our business community, and our office operates in that space efficiently. So that's the way that we have operated for the last couple of years, and it's worked pretty well for us. Here's just a quick overview of what our office statistics have looked like. So you can see that right after this went into effect, cases were pretty elevated. That's because it was new and people didn't know about it yet, and people had a lot of questions about it. Notice that we didn't actually recover that much money in that year, that we had 17 cases. That's because we got a lot of cases that year that we dismissed because they weren't valid. Employees didn't understand the rules, so they came and they filed, and we said, no, that's actually not a violation. Sorry. We tried to keep our average case below 90 days. We've been pretty good about that. Our median is actually quite a bit lower than average. It's knocked up occasionally when there's a case that goes on for 200 days or something like that. We get a case, some of those occasionally where there's just a lot of activity, or on one case that gets drawn out, and that really bumps the numbers up quite a bit. But we usually are inside in 2 months. Yeah, we usually sit about half a dozen cases per year, and you'll also notice the amount we're recovering is increasing recently, and that's because mostly the cases that we're getting have been cases that are more actionable and have allowed us to recover more money for those claimants. It's not a lot of money that we're recovering overall. We're still about 33,000 over several years, but that is important money to those employees that are, by definition, making less than the wage. So the lowest income earners. And then wanted to tell you a little bit about some of the things that we deal with that are areas of uncertainty or challenges that our office faces. There's been a question over the last couple of years about taking a tip credit for employees if the pool is shared between like front of house and back of house. That's an issue we won't have to deal with in a couple months because we're only paid the same amount, so that issue will go away. That it related essentially to, you may notice the 3M tip credit, which is the federal tip credit. It's actually a different tip credit than we have in our ordinance, so there's been some confusion about that, but that one will be going away pretty soon. So it actually kind of just, as we've been looking and talking to other attorneys about that, about how we want to address it, kind of solves itself in a few months. So that's kind of nice for us. Remote workers are a challenge because under our ordinance, it's written as where the work is performed. So if you work for a company elsewhere that doesn't pay very much and you live in Flagstaff and they say, oh yeah, don't worry about it. You can totally be remote, live wherever you want to live. Technically, they're supposed to make our minimum wage, but it's really hard for us to enforce that because the employers probably don't have a business license in Flagstaff, so they don't even know that we have a higher minimum wage. And the employees may not know that they're entitled to it. So that's an area that we have. Some other ones, I didn't have it on here, but companies that do work here occasionally. So there's like construction companies that will work in the city of Flagstaff. They'll go to Muntz Park, and they'll go to Williams, and they'll go to Doney Park, and they have to calculate where the work is being done for their employees. So sometimes, some of the companies do. They track it, and you're on a project out in Muntz Park, you're making less than if you're in the city. Others just pay the full minimum wage because they know they work both in and out of the jurisdiction. And then out-of-state employers can be a little tricky because our enforcement mechanism is through our municipal court, and our city court obviously does not operate in different states. So it just creates a little bit of an administrative hurdle. We've attempted to in the past. I give examples of some cases that have gone longer. This is one of the areas that can really prolong a case as it goes to court. We have to file documents in other states and compel appearance and those kind of things. That can be a little bit of a challenge for us. We don't want to do that. We don't want to be at that point in a case where we're in a court that's not good for anybody at that point. So, like I said, part of the reason that I want to be here and talk to you transparently is to avoid getting to a point where we're deep into cases like this and it's experiencing all the heartache that comes with it. That's kind of where we're at. Next year, we're going to be at 1835. It'll be for all employees, which will make our enforcement efforts a little bit easier. It might make your payroll a little bit easier. I know easier to at least administer. And I'll just say as well, it's not on a slide or anything, that I really appreciate all the businesses that are willing to engage with this office, that talk with us. When I have to go into a business and I announce I'm from the Office of Labor Standards, I need to talk to a manager and I have a letter demanding records, I know that that's not what any business wants to hear. And I want to thank the business community for the vast majority of the times when that happens, for being willing to work with our office. It reflects well on you. And where we have the ability to give discretion, we want to, especially the businesses that are willing to kind of give us the respect, knowing that we're enforcing an ordinance that we didn't write, and that the city council did not vote on or anything. So we appreciate that relationship, and we strive to have continued positive interaction with our business community within the bounds of what we're allowed to do. So with that, are there any questions from y'all about the provisions of our ordinance, or how our activities work, or anything else on this topic?
Don't see any.
I
No?
don't see any. Thank you.
All right, yeah,
Really informative.
absolutely.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you for having me. If you have any questions in the future or want to reach out, labor standards at flagstaff.az.gov. We're just flagstaff.az.gov/minwage, MINWAGE, or if you type into Google, it pops right up as well. We have a shared inbox. We're always happy to respond and answer any questions we get, or I've even had businesses ask if they're doing things that are in compliance with our ordinance, send me records just without the case being opened, and we're happy to do anything we can to assist. Thank you.
No questions always means that you were very thorough. You didn't leave anything unmentioned.
All right, thank you all so much.
Definitely a topic of discussion.
Oh, I know. I know as well that I'm not everyone's favorite person to come and present on, but that's the topics I get. So thank you for avoiding throwing fruit or anything my direction. I appreciate it.
I think it's good to hear everything you share. Some misconceptions out there. Thank you.
Disagree with you, Chris. Just listening to you answer questions yesterday, I very much appreciate it.
Yeah.
I was very thankful I wasn't one.
There's things you can control, things you can't control, and providing information, being transparent, and being personable is one thing you can control. So I try to do that.
All right, we're moving on to reports.
Thank you.
We will not be doing the attractions report today. Heather Craig is not here. So we'll catch up with her next month. Month after? Next month. And then we're gonna move to the director and staff reports, with a quick reminder that we have a 3 o'clock stop.
Okay, so we've got 44 minutes. Chair, Vice Chair, Commission, thank you for letting us present to you today. We're going to be looking at, for the most part, all of September, and then some looks forward in each of our vertical markets. So next slide, please.
I love that picture.
And next slide after that one. We're going to start with Earned Media and Film Office today. Ryan, take it away.
Thanks a lot, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Ryan Randazzo, the Media Relations and Film Office. Next slide, please. We'll go through our normal metrics for the month of September. We had 5 media assists that month. That compared with 7 same month prior year. We hosted 2 journalists that month. One was from the BBC, another was from a mountain biking publication. That compared with 10 the same month the prior year. Total news stories generated, that is not a typo. It is 168 using our new software program, Meltwater. A year ago, it was 168 using Cision. That is incredibly odd, but don't have much of an explanation for that. We had a big month last year and a little bit smaller than has been trending this month, this year, September this year. Themes that we saw in all of that coverage, Route 66, and I'll have some examples of that, and Lowell Observatory took their usual large slice of the media coverage pie, especially with book reviews of a new book called The Martians. I think that was good for something like 40 different media hits around the country, people writing reviews of that, and it's all about Lowell Observatory. We issued 3 film permits for that month. One was a return. It was electric bicycles coming back here to film. One was our own project that I'm sure Lori and Sabrina will talk a little bit about. And we assisted 6 different projects and continue to assist those this month. Next slide, please. So these are some examples. Some of these are going to sound like repeats. Starting in the top left, that's Zach Perry from ABC 15, a big fan of Flagstaff. I believe that's his 9th feature story. That was about 3 minutes long, very cool segment where he used his drone to follow the zip lines and ropes courses at Flagstaff Extreme. In the bottom left, I made an appearance on Fox 10 Talks to discuss our leafometer. So nice to see that get some earned media. And anyone who's been out in the forest the last week, I'm sure has seen that there are quite a few people doing the leaf peeping of Flagstaff. Lots of traffic up, especially near Snowball. And then on the right of that page, that is GQ Mexico. That is like a twofer because the story was about the best places to stop on Route 66, and Flagstaff made number 4. The reason that headline is a little wonky is because that is translated from Spanish, but Flagstaff made the list of best places to stop on Route 66 because it is a dark sky place. Next slide, please. Again, I sound like a broken record. This is Sage Scott on the big picture on the left. She is an Associated Press writer that came here last fall. She's writing a series of 11 stories. We have been placed in, I think, 9 of her 11. The title was Route 66 Adventures You Can't Experience from the Car. That is a local picture, but we got mentioned in that story for Walnut Canyon. So it was a nice plug for the canyon. And that particular news source that it ran in that you're looking at is in New Mexico, but it ran in 54 different publications around the country. On the right side of the page, Powder Magazine covered the event at Arizona Snow Bowl. They had also covered the prior event, the Sunday evening dinner. So both of those got really positive media coverage. And then the smaller picture to the right of that page is Lonely Planet. I can say that we have talked to at least 2 freelancers who are regular stringers for that publication and reached out to them, trying to get them to update content on City of Flagstaff, which is woefully out of date. I think it's about 12 years since they did a nice feature on us. So we're getting to somebody because that story, the 7 best places to visit in fall in North America this fall, mentioned Flagstaff along with Mexico City, and I think the New York Finger Lakes and Breckenridge and some other A-level destinations. So I think we're starting to break through a little bit with Lonely Planet, and hopefully in the next year they update their landing page for the City of Flagstaff. Next slide, please. Looking ahead, we have 4 fam tours, 4 journalists scheduled to come here in November. One of them is traveling from France. She's someone I met on a media mission earlier in the year. She's coming here just for high altitude training. She's actually taking a trip to Scottsdale to run in a marathon. And because she'll be in Arizona, she is asked to come up to Flagstaff as well as part of that trip. I will be taking a media mission with the Arizona Office of Tourism to Germany. And we have 50 media contacts lined up in November for that. And then I have mentioned this, and I'm guessing Sabrina might mention it as well, that the Capitol Christmas tree is planned and scheduled and will be at the Flagstaff Mall on November 7th.
Yeah. What time?
Yes, you're gonna be there from 5 to 7. They'll get there a little earlier because it takes about an hour to set up. They have a 100-foot long truck that is a little bit wonky to navigate, even in a big parking lot because there's light poles and medians and things. So we've been having meetings with them and trying to find the appropriate landing spot for the tree and decorators and all those things. But the mall seems pretty excited to host that, and we're hoping that brings a regional draw. At least people, from driving distance would come up to see that. Yeah.
Hello, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Jessica Johnson, your Visitor Center Manager, here to share our September updates. So a quick look at our walk-ins. We're continuing the trend that we've been seeing the last few months with decreases over this time last September. I know you guys are all feeling those same things throughout the industry. Next slide. And then our retail sales were also down the last couple months. We were able to still squeak by with some increases, but that was not the case for September. We were down 11% on our retail sales, so still not down as much as our walk-ins. So we are still making more sales to those that are coming through the doors, but seeing decreases there as well. Next slide. And then I just wanted to share a little bit about the Visitor Center Express. Obviously not the same numbers we see downtown, but we're there to provide that service to the visitors coming in, or those little, oh, I forgot this. Oh, I needed to bring a gift home for those flying out. We've seen just over 600 walk-ins last month, and then over $3,000 in sales. You're gonna start seeing the sales increase as we added beer and wine this month. So you can now enjoy a beverage before you pass through security. So if you want to get there a little early, okay, enjoy that. Next slide. And then a quick look ahead of what's going on the next couple of months. This is similar to what I shared last month. So we have our winter recreation hotline launching December 1st, encouraging that responsible snow play and that overnight stay when coming up to enjoy our winter weather. And then bringing back the Winter Wonderland horse-drawn carriage rides. They were very popular last year, so bringing them back to give another winter activity for downtown Flagstaff.
All right. Madam Chair and Commissioners, apologies for not being there in person, dealing with some things at home here. But yeah, next slide, please. So our Facebook did do really well this month, as you can see with that 73K in reach and 68K in reach. Folks, again, really like our then and now posts, and they were very excited for the Star Party that happened in September. Next slide, please. And I did mention last month that I will be reporting on TikTok, so here we are. We have about 4,000 followers on our TikTok, and that number is slowly going up. You can see we did a few videos this past month, one on the new mural tours that Freaky Foot Tours is doing. Also posted a fun meme for our new fall season. And then another simple little something to help calm the feed down. Just some aspen leaves in the wind, and it, as you can see, had a lot of reach and a lot of engagements. A lot of folks did repost that, so really happy with these videos performance this month. Next slide, please. HAPS still going strong, despite our numbers going down compared to 24. We still have a quite high open rate of 41% and a 2% click-through rate. So still strong there. Next slide, please. And then looking ahead, another trend that we've hopped on, of course, Trails Passport, then and nows, leaf peeping, holidays, and we're getting into winter recreation. So looking forward to that and our ghost trend, which we will be shooting this Friday. I'm excited to show everybody next month what we've got. That's it for me. If there's any questions, please let me know.
Your pictures are beautiful.
Oh, thank you. It was an awesome time up there. It felt like I was in Twilight.
Go time. Good afternoon, commissioners. Sabrina Beard, marketing specialist for Discover Flagstaff. Diving into a little bit of email campaign. Our reach increased 10% year over year for Discover Flagstaff master email. However, we did see a 7% decrease in our open rate. So we only got about 33% open rate. But I think part of the reason why we're seeing a decrease in our master email open rate is because our segmented drip emails are very engaged. We saw a 24% increase year over year in our dining drip email. And that was a 51% open rate. We also saw a 6% click-through rate on that dining email. So those folks are really engaged. Our drip events email, 55% growth year over year. And our outdoor drip saw a 9% growth in reach year over year. So our audience, they're definitely figuring out this segmented style of emails, and they're really enjoying. These drip emails are smaller. They are fewer clicks to get to the bottom, and they still offer that booking link so people can plan their trips. Let's go to the next slide, please. Oh, and really quick before I move on from Discover Flagstaff, accommodations was our top click in September. So people are planning to come. Excuse me. For our Flagstaff local, we did see a decrease in reach year over year, but we saw growth in our open rate. The September email had an open rate of 45%, which was really nice to see. And then top clicks went to volunteering for the Oktoberfest Festival, voting for Best of Flagstaff through the Daily Sun, and of course, our Flagstaff 365 events calendar. Let's go to the next slide, please. Sweepstakes continue to be a pain point with audience trusting that this is Discover Flagstaff. They are hesitant to share their personal information because we are seeing reach, we are seeing click through, but it does fall off at the point of entry. So we have reached out to our platform where we host our sweepstakes. It's called Blue Box, and their support team shared really helpful information about removing the Blue Box logo as the third-party company, and we can actually replace it with only a Discover Flagstaff logo for our sweepstakes. So we're learning more about that and going to be implementing that for our upcoming winter sweepstakes. But festivals ended with an 86% decrease year over year, and so the total was 658 entries. And compared to 2024, we had 4,696 entries. So again, just a little bit of a pain point. We've been sharing this with you throughout the year, asking for your input. What would make you feel more comfortable to share your personal information? Based on conversation, we did add the word free a little bit larger in our creative. We've also added a disclaimer to the graphic and to our entry page that shares that personal information collected is only used for the purpose of the sweepstakes. And then there's an additional checkbox that people can say, yes, I want to receive Discover Flagstaff information in the future. But
Now, last year, was it one entry per person?
No, yeah, last year was one entry per person. And in years prior, we had a process that was one entry per person per day. But because of spam bots, we had to turn that feature off because we were more susceptible to fake entries, which made it harder to actually report on our reach and entries. So just navigating the world of technology changing. So we'll go to the next slide and have a better story to share. So we just reached the anniversary of our Route 66 passport launching. So I will start having annual overview for everybody, but we're just shy of 1,000 pass holders right now. So very exciting. We saw 25% growth of our passport signups year over year for the month of September. Let's go to the next slide, please. Trails Passport continues to chug along. We did meet with the Flagstaff Trails Initiative folks earlier this fall, just to make sure that all of our trails recommended were accurate. If there's anything missing, if there's anything that needs to come down, we did receive good feedback. We saw a 200% growth in check-ins for our trails. So that was very exciting, with our top 3 trails being Kachina, Walnut Canyon, and Gold Digger. And that's important because for the last year, Buffalo Park was our #1 checked into trail. And we asked if that should come down because of its popularity, and FTI said, go ahead and leave it. We did. But yeah, these are fall favorites. They have a nice leaf emoji. They're moved up to the top at the start of fall. So folks were pretty excited about that. And we'll go to the next slide, please. Website updates, of course, now that it's fall, we've updated winter content. Winter content is still being updated, but there's good progress there. If anybody has any winter-related events, seasonal menu changes that you'd like to share, we'll get it online. And then, of course, just your listings. Make sure that your business listings are up to date and send that anytime. Next slide, please. Looking ahead, just a nice list of stuff. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but just continuing on the same projects that I just shared. So I'll hand the mic over. I believe Lori Pappas next.
Thanks, Sabrina. Let's take a look at some paid digital efforts for the month of September. To the far left, you'll see the leafometer. Fall continues, no pun intended, to be a hot spot for Flagstaff, and actually a very cool spot. And the reason I asked Ralph, I'm like, can you adorn this with a blue ribbon? And the reason why is, and I don't, you guys might not smile as much as I did or be as verbal as I did when I saw Google's analytics. You guys, this creative had a 0.70 click-through rate. Like, you guys, that's huge. When you figure on the high end, a strongly performing ad is a 0.24. Anyway, I really think that that might be a new benchmark or a milestone for the organization. So anyway, I really put some pep in my step. Looking at the festival creative, Celebrations was part of the creative here, and it had a 0.69 click-through rate, and Oktoberfest had a 0.47 click-through rate. And I do want to be a little more definitive. Celebrations at 0.69, also another big win. The difference is, so you can understand why I was so incredibly thrilled with Leafometer, is the number of impressions served. So the more impressions you have, it's likely your click-through rate is going to level set. But the number of impressions that were delivered to Leafometer versus the number of impressions based on budget to 365 and Celebrations was a drastic difference. So the fact that Leafometer had substantially more impressions and still maintained a 0.70 should make us all have a great day. Let's see, Arizona Snow Bowl, they had a 0.59 click-through rate. So overall, we really had a nice month. I do want to share, as grand as it gets, it continues to perform above average as well. That performance was 0.30. That's been served time and time again. So it is very strong and level set. Let's go to the next slide, please. Our billboards, September results, these boards received 1.2 million impressions. And it's more than just the creative that you're looking on or looking at this screen. For instance, additional creative included Festival of Science, Pickin' in the Pines, and as you can see, Oktoberfest, and then also the Science Festival. Next slide, please. Engagement rate, moving to our website. Again, you guys, this is another proud moment, and our engagement rate, you can see, has been pretty steady. But, you know, I do just want to share that AI has wreaked havoc on the Google Analytics for reporting platform. And I say havoc, it does cause me gas. It causes me a tremendous amount of gas. And when Trace sees me turn green, he knows exactly why. I do want to share, let's go to the next slide. I do want to share is that we have partnered with, we can go to the next slide. We partnered with a new vendor to ideally speed up our progress with AI. So our sessions here look dismal, but I want to say that many destination marketing organizations are in this wheelhouse, and I'm gonna chase this with some worse, if not worse. Yeah, and truly, it's beyond DMOs as well, because AI is across the whole World Wide Web. But here's some good stuff happening. We really do continue to keep the pedal down in regard to generative engine optimization. And I want to share month over month our sessions for GEO. And I'm going to compare to the previous month, to August. You usually don't hear us report month over month because our months are so different, right? But the reason I'm going to do that now is because last September, GEO really wasn't much of a force. It's a force today, and it was a force last month. So that's why I'm choosing to share these numbers. So generative engine on our sessions, September this year is 330. Last month was 314. So there's growth. Our views, next slide, please. September, our views in September, again, this is AI generative engine, is 851 views versus August, 665 views. So again, there is some marked improvement here. I think we're good. Next slide, please. Thank you. Do you monitor it and you're seeing it too?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's changed a lot.
It's changed a lot. It really has. Festivals, here's just a glimpse on what GA4 is saying, and this is healthy. Next slide, please. Things to do. I would welcome all of you through your search, whether it's Bing or Google, and choosing an incognito search. Please go in and search Flagstaff things to do. Love to hear what you see, because what I see, get a drum roll,
Okay.
is Discover Flagstaff is in the #1 position. I'd love to see what you see. Ralph and I talk about this often because sometimes what he sees is different from what I see. But eventually we get to the same C. So anyway, it really does make me happy. It is definitely amongst the top things to search.
It's the #1 position.
Oh my gosh. Did everybody hear that?
No, say that.
It's in
Say it
the
again.
#1 position on my search, Discover Flagstaff.
So you guys, this has been some blood, sweat, and tears. Next slide, please. All right, huge stinking win for dining and nightlife. I want you guys to look at where we were in January and where we have been with July, August, and now September. The trajectory follows the previous year's trajectory, but we have exceeded this. This is this right here.
There should be a blue ribbon on this too.
Yeah.
I love the way you speak. Ralph, what were you thinking?
Yes, yes.
I'm telling you, you guys, this has been a lot of work, and this is my voice right now speaking, but every single person at this table has rowed in this direction to get this performance. It's not been easy. Everybody's hand has been in the pie, and it's a big deal. And
Congratulations.
thank you, appreciate it. And you know what? Our restaurants, our breweries, our nightlife, they're telling this story and we're amplifying it. And it, like I said, it's not easy, but we get there. And so I appreciate our partners and our stakeholders and all the heavy lifting and the dial moving that they're doing to help us tell this story. And we're getting gritty, and this is what we get. So next slide, please. Looking ahead, to the left, you guys, believe it or not, it is time to start to talk about spring training. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's time. And I gotta tell you, you know, I was looking at some March numbers, and our March did pretty well last year, and it rivals some of our summer months these days. So this particular ad is running in or on usatoday.com in a digital only insert. This insert will be served beginning January 5th, more than 2 million impressions in key markets where the Cactus League home teams are their origin cities. So think of the likes of LA Dodgers, San Francisco Giants, San Diego Padres. Give me a Chicago White Sox. Chicago. You know, even Wisconsin serves us well in March. So anyway, there's a little peek at that's already in the works. To the right, this is an ad that's appearing in a playbill in the Scottsdale and Mesa area performing arts centers. So really, really nice. I do want to call attention to the footer in the Wipe the Smile ad, as it's calling attention to a Theatricos play. The Theatricos team have created a play called Route 66 to the Grand Canyon, and they have partnered with Discover Flagstaff in that play. That play will begin curtain time late December, then it'll go through November of 2026. No, by design. By design. I was asked to be the leading character.
Yeah.
But you should. Trace is in it.
Really?
No,
Well, then I'm not gonna go see it.
Spirit, I knew that.
So anyway, you're gonna hear more, you're gonna hear and see more about this play at our annual meeting. So be ready for some fun times. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. We're still going to be looking ahead. Sabrina is got some great things planned for our lifestyle TV segments. Arizona Republic insert, more than 150,000 will drop, I believe, December 7th. I shouldn't say I believe. It is dropping December 7th as well as December 10th. So 2 drop dates. The Republic content, we'll have a winter scenic on the cover. I do want to share that Arizona Snowball is a partner with us. On the inside front cover, they are working hard on bringing back the state free program. It's our hopes to include that they're, well, I'll just leave it at that. So we're looking forward to that. Sabrina's also hosting another sweepstakes in that insert. Page 3 will be all about Arizona Snow Bowl. The backside will support winter programming. Think of the likes of the winter recreation map, the amazing Great Pine Cone Drop. And we will be sniping our restaurants as well. Here are, I'm gonna pass these around of some paid ads that we've been distributing. This third bullet, the Route 66 poly bags, that too is coming into fruition. So we will be poly bagging 2 lifestyle magazines in key markets, LA Magazine, as well as Texas Monthly. And those are between the months of February and April, in some about 35,000 poly bags. And it is the entire Route 66 magazine, which is 80 plus pages. So looking forward to getting some strong traction on that. Again, solidifying our objectives for this domestic market and driving demand from the drive market and from our flight markets. I've already been through website as far as SEO and GEO. What I haven't touched on is very happy to share that we've been selected as a beta partner with off Madison Avenue and the Arizona Office of Tourism for an AI itinerary builder, which will be a widget joining our website probably within the next 60 days. And I tell you what, there's so much to this because it's a concierge type service for the website visitor to ask AI what there is to do in Flagstaff. The beauty of it is, well, there's a lot of beauty to it, but the thing that really makes me happy is those AI search engines, they're going to see Discover Flagstaff resonate more, have a stronger engagement, and that is also going to help us, if you will, with our markers. Markers is a term in the AI world, and they're going to see our markers resonating more. Therefore, they are going to cite us more and above the fold. So it's something that we're very optimistic with. We talked about Cactus League spring training, and lastly, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we hosted a film crew, and Ryan had mentioned this in his presentation a couple minutes ago. And we are happy to share that we will be on the receiving end of 2 episodes of a comedic video series. We haven't produced comedic videos. And I don't know about you, but I think more than ever, people are looking for reasons to laugh, these reasons to give them smiles. And we think that this video series is going to do that. So just a little insight.
You're in it.
Yeah. I'm in the 5th episode. It hasn't been produced yet, though. Anyway, there's just a little nugget there, and I'm thinking that we could probably share more what that's going to look like, probably as we get into January. That's a wrap for me. Are there any questions? Ahead, I'm sure that you are familiar with this visual. This is our annual meeting, you guys, that's going to be here in the next, 2 weeks. So please make sure you RSVP. We'll have some reserved seating for you. It's the same bat channel as the last couple of years. We'll be at High Country Conference Center. It's a 2-hour program, and we've changed up some things, and the team here is really excited, and we're thinking that you're gonna walk away with more pep in your step than you have in the past meetings. In the past meetings, you've also had some great experiences, but we're upping it again. Yeah, it'll be fun.
How are our SVPs coming in? Fabulous, really good.
100 right now.
So far, really? Great.
I love your smile. It is great.
That's good.
Okay, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, Tourism Commission, thank you for letting us present. We have a little bit of time and we're happy to answer questions or go any path you'd like, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you for all the amazing information. You guys are doing so much. And yes, we all feel a little bit of pain with what is happening out there. But you're keeping us busy and we appreciate it. You give us a lot of great info to share with our guests. So they are not bored while they are here, which is wonderful. Great. And they do extend their stays because there's a lot.
Happy to hear that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. As far as the meeting, the annual meeting next month, I was going to encourage our commissioners to reach out to their other partners that they know of and make sure, encourage them to RSVP. I think while we have 200, we could have more, right?
Sure.
500?
We should.
Yeah. How many do we want here?
Like 220 is a great number.
220?
220 is a good number.
I know.
To actually show the day of.
You
There's
actually
difference between
show.
RSVP
The other
and
thing,
showing.
do we remind everybody to go and
We do. We have a system in place, but we can only
And
do so much.
can we help?
Ryan, what do you think of that?
So, I appreciate the offer. I think we're doing really well this year because of a nice, new software platform, Greenglow, that we're relying more on. And it sends reminders to people who have RSVP'd.
I've got
And that it's almost like precisely 200 today. And then it sends reminders to people who have opened it but not RSVP'd yet. So I think those 200 people who have said they're coming have gotten reminders and will get another reminder before the event. And that asks them, if your plans have changed, please let us know. So I'm hopeful that our actual head count is much more accurate this year because of that, really strong software platform that helps us track. And each person had to RSVP individually. So in the past, we might get a partner who said, I'm coming and I'm bringing 8 people from my property. And those 8 people have no idea that they've been RSVP'd. But we would be anticipating 8 folks who had no idea because they didn't RSVP themselves, and that's not the case this year. So thanks to Jessica and Carrie kind of advising me on that. So everyone who says they're coming has clicked yes themselves, not had someone do that for them. So I think we're good hands.
Good. Okay. I know I'm doing a push
Thank you.
in the
Let's
next
love
week
it.
or,
I said one more annual item, impact awards. Everyone may have seen that we changed up our awards this year. We've added some new categories involving community impact. Those are rolling in, close at this Friday, which is I guess tomorrow at 5 p.m. So if you're planning to get a nomination in for one of those 4 categories, just make sure you have it in by that time, because then they will go to, I don't know, what do they call it? I feel like I'm on American Idol. They'll go to voting decision. After that, then, yep, and then it's locked in. So
5 o'clock
get 'em in.
tomorrow.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. And commissioners, do you guys have anything you want to add or update or any announcements? And then I have one more thing.
This is Jamie. I just wanted to let everybody know, my wife and I went up on Sunday of last week, having no idea how many people the leaves bring. We went up Snowball Road, and Gloria used the word, it feels like a festival at Aspen Corner. It was amazing. It was just, it blew our minds. So the Snowball experience up there, we went up, we had a beer. We had some food, listened to some music, but it was just, it blew our minds. Gloria's been in town 25 years. So just wanted to say thanks. It was amazing. And it really kind of sat me back in my chair to say, wow, we really get a lot of people up here. And I know we do a lot of hard work to advertise that. So just wanted to say thanks and let you know it was wonderful.
Hey, Commissioner Thousand, thank you for calling that out. We did host Channel 3 for a lifestyle segment on leaf peeping, and we did partner with Snowball to get folks up to do the scenic gondola. So we're really enjoying hearing the success of that segment that aired on October 7th. Thank you.
You're welcome.
See, you guys tell our story. And looking at the agenda, our next meeting date we have down is November 27th. That's a Thanksgiving Day, so I don't know that. Okay.
Bring a turkey. You bring the turkey.
So, we're gonna move it to the Tuesday before, the 25th. Should we have a quorum? Is that gonna work out for all of our commissioners?
I will be out of town that day. This is Regina.
I'll be here, Julie will be here.
I'll be here.
I'll be here as well.
Okay, perfect. Then we're gonna move it to next Tuesday, the 25th of November. Same time, 1:30 here in the conference room, and it is available.
I'll have to check. And then Heidi has comment.
Heidi?
Sure. Hi, I just wanted to share that at the council meeting this past week, the council agreed that we will be able to raise the parking rate in downtown from $1 to $2. And that is largely due to downtown wanting some enhanced services done throughout the year. We're talking about graffiti, litter cleanup, alley work, sidewalks, things that we don't do on a regular basis within the city's contract to do those services. So there'll be a lot more that you'll be seeing on this, but if you ever have any questions, we can always have Gail Brockman or Dave McIntyre come to the commission and share a little bit more about that. And I just wanted you to be aware if you hear anything about that, because normally each year at the annual, I give people a lot of grief for complaining about $1. Well, it's too late. They should have paid the $1 because now it's $2. No, I'm kidding. I just wanted you to know we feel like it's time. It's been since 2017. And that we haven't changed the rates, and there's a lot of things that will be happening with that increase. So again, if there's any questions or concerns, we can have someone come in and talk to the commission, or you can always reach out and I can put the email addresses in the chat. Thanks.
Thank you. And then December, we will not have a meeting. And just as a reminder, January, we will have 2 meetings. One will be a retreat and one is our regular meeting. It's already that time. Date to be determined for the retreat. We'll discuss it next month. That's it. Thank you very much. You guys rock. You rock. And Lori changed her mind. She will be in the play. That's in the minutes. Set her.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. We adjourn at 2:59. Wow. So the play part was on record.
It's in the play this. Yeah.